the Detroit Lions atop my power rankings, atop the NFC North, atop the NFC, and the number 1 seed. Greatest season the Lions have ever had in the regular season. And I include my power rankings in that, yes. Dan Campbell, man. Did you hear this soundbite when he was asked how he's going to spend the bye week?
Chomping on knees?
Check it out.
Somebody that eats, sleeps, and breathes the game as much as you do. What does that look like for you these next couple of days?
I'll have to drink the game. I'm going to get a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit of, work over the next 2 days. Like I said, we'll practice, and then I plan on getting out of here a little bit. I'll have stuff with me, and there'll be some little things I'm working on, things that I know that I can do better, get better at, things that I want to look at, do my own checklist as it pertains to us, like over the last, call it 5 weeks, 6 weeks. But other than that, man, I want to spend time with my family and just sit back for a minute and just charge back up and be ready to go.
I love that guy. Same thing with our Hall of Fame friend joining us now here as part of Primitiv, the Primitiv Performance, the proud CBD performance partner of Ford Field, the great Detroit Lion and Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson back here on the program. Good to see you, Calvin. How are you, sir?
Good to see you too, Rich. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. I'll just give you the floor on Dan Campbell. And you just saw the soundbite where you eat, drink, and you eat, sleep at the game. What are you going to do? I'm going to drink the game, What do you think of this guy, Calvin?
You got to love him, man. He's authentic. That's just Dan, just being his authentic self. And just, like I say, just staying true to himself. I mean, you can read authenticity. You can read when somebody's being fake, and we don't get anything fake from Dan, and that's why his players respond the way they do, because he just his authentic self to them. He doesn't treat anybody different than the other. He treats them all the same. Expects all of them to be great, to bring their best potential to practice, to the game, and that's all you can ask for in a coach. That he's the same level-headed person, and he's the same with everybody.
And what's your relationship with him? I mean, whenever you go to the games, you're hanging out there, you see him, or you're around the team. What's that about, Calvin?
Oh yeah, I get around to practice whenever I can. I get to a couple of them throughout the season. I'm trying to get to a couple of them here in the playoffs. I try to holler at them whenever I can, before the game, after practice. It's always great to talk to them, especially because this is uncharted territory for us here in Detroit. So just to get a feel of what he's feeling, what he's thinking, it's pretty cool, man, just to see, how he's driving these guys to, perform at their best, even though we might see that they might be a little depleted on that defensive side. It's just the level of coaching that he got around them, man, and everybody's just stepping up to the plate.
And now here's the we're going to stick the landing here, guys. Do you know Dan Campbell was a teammate of Calvin Johnson's when he showed up as a rookie for the Detroit Lions and was, in fact, on that team that we were referring to before, 0-16, right? I mean, tell me your favorite Dan Campbell teammate story. Do you have one, Calvin?
Dan Campbell he's almost like RoboCop when he was out there, because he had like this, he did something to his shoulder or something. He had this big old sleeve that he played with. And the fact is that, he was still our best tight end, and he never complained. He just went out there and got his job done. You never hear anything, the coach saying anything to him, just because he was prepared. And that's why that's why I was so happy about him. That's why I'm so happy about him being here in Detroit, because I know he's going to have these guys prepared, because he was always prepared to play. And like I say, he doesn't BS. He's just straight to the point. It's black and white. Get your job done, and he's going to love on you too. Now he has a sense of humor. He's a family man. So all those things together, they just make a great coach.
If I had told you, if I was able to wave a wand, and I'm now going back in time, I'm in the Primitiv hot tub time machine, right? And and I go back in time, and I tap you on the shoulder in the middle of the 0-16 season, and I point to your teammate Dan Campbell and say, he is going to be the guy to coach a 15-win Detroit Lions team to be the 1 seed and be the prohibitive favorite to make the Super Bowl and send Detroit to the Super Bowl, you would have said what, Calvin?
You need to put down the cannabis.
What you smoking on, bro?
Yeah, I'm using the product. You know, that's what you're saying. Really,
100%.
right?
I mean, we just went 0-16. I was like, anybody just trying to go as far as they can away from here right now. I would have never thought that in 1,000 years.
Did he have a coaching mentality? Did you see anything? I guess the roots of that when you were playing with him?
I didn't get a chance to see the roots of it. Obviously, he went to other places and got some interim roles and whatnot. But
Right.
what I could speak to is just the consistency with which he played, his consistent demeanor, and him being a lovable guy. He's a great teammate. You know, like I said, his sense of humor has always been there. And so those things, like I say, those things have definitely, and then being a player coach, somebody that actually played in this league, you know, those things will help you become a better coach.
What's it like standing on the Ford Field sidelines or just right before a game and you're looking around and you're seeing what's in the stands and the energy in that building and what this team has become for the city and potentially the future? What is that like for you, Calvin Johnson?
It's awesome because this is a sports town. I mean, we love all our sports here. We're really smart fans. But football, you know, we need a football winner. We have a football winner, the city might burn down because people they bleed, they breathe football, especially Detroit Lions football. And what this team has meant for the city over the last year and a half, going on 2 years now, you just see the energy everywhere you go. I mean, obviously in Detroit, everybody's bouncing around. Everybody's, you know, got something good to talk about because our team is doing well. But it stands outside the city. You're starting to see, I go, you know, I snowboard. I go out to the mountain town. You see Lions stuff all the way out in remote places. It's beautiful to see. But it all starts here with this team, man, and that their energy, that good culture, it exudes well outside. It permeates the culture here in Detroit.
What do you think is the best feature of this team?
It all goes back to the grittiness with which, you know, this team started. You know, I think that's what our fans respect the most about it. That's why this place is so loud, because we have so many guys that are willing to sacrifice, that are willing to bust their butt, that are willing to go out there even though they're not feeling their best and lay it on the line. We're able to see that each and every day from this team. You got guys that are in the community that are trying to help their fellow brethren. You see guys that come from other teams that come here and they get thrown into the lineup and are ready to play. But a lot of that just goes back to the fundamentals and the coaching and the situational situations that they put themselves in practice. So I just all boils back down to the grit, you know, that we have here in Detroit. We want to work. You come here, you got to want to work.
Calvin Johnson here on the Rich Eisen Show, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, and we'll talk about Primitiv performance in a moment. Let's talk about another former teammate of yours out here in Los Angeles, California, in his 16th year. 16th year for Matthew Stafford. When did you first realize that he was special, Calvin?
Man, it didn't take long when he got to Detroit. You know, it didn't take long for us to realize that this guy can put the ball anywhere on the field. And if he just takes care of his body as he's done over his 16 years now, he's going to be able to play a long time. Like I say, he can put the ball anywhere on the field, but he's a smart guy as well. You know, you can blitz this guy all you want. He'll pick you apart. And it all just stems from, you know, him having, you know, I think we went through the fire here in Detroit, you know, early on. You know, we weren't very good. And you got a taste of what it takes to, you know, to push and fight through not having winning seasons. And over time, you know, he just developed a winning mentality. And we've seen him go on to that was the best thing about seeing him going his first year to LA and win a Super Bowl in that first year. It's great that we got golf, but I was happy for him because we always had that here in Detroit. We knew we had it here in Detroit, so that was good.
Do you think he's earned a right to reside in the same gallery in Canton, Ohio, as you do, Calvin?
Man, if you leave it up to me, I mean, we haven't seen – he doesn't get enough accolades. I mean, he gets the accolades out there on the field, but he doesn't get enough, I feel like, respect around the league. I mean, he's starting to get it now, but I feel like he didn't get a lot of that early on. And a lot of that came because we were in Detroit. But you see, once he went out to A, he began to get all the props that he deserved. So I believe one day if he keeps on playing, I mean, not if he keeps on playing because he's played 16 years. Yeah. I'm sure he has records out there. He has a Super Bowl ring. I would love to welcome him in. I would be ecstatic.
Right, and you're not the only Triple Crown receiver he's thrown to. You know, I mean, you and Cooper Kupp, like he's done it twice. He's done it in two different places. He's done it in two different eras of his life. right? A single guy in Detroit, young guy, and now, father of I believe 4, right? And
who knows how many you got now? Yeah.
and out here is a 36-year-old, veteran. He's done it with Cooper Kupp now, different spot.
100%, man. You give him a solid receiver with that arm, you're going to have success. 100%. We see it with Puka. That relationship starting to grow as well. So it's exciting to see anybody I know that's solid, that has a want to, that wants to work. You team them up with Matthew, and you're going to have some success.
Yeah, and that's a shot, I think, from last year before the playoff game, right?
I told him to throw me two interceptions. That's why he's smiling.
So is that really what you told him in this photograph right there?
100%.
That's how you sent him off onto the field, Calvin?
I told him I love you, man, but I need 2 interceptions today.
Well, you might see him again. All they got to do, if they won and done the Vikings, and everything else remains chalk, you'd see him again in the divisional round. Yeah,
he might not come to me because I'm gonna say the same thing. He might say 3.
You might upgrade it. I love it. Tell me about Primitiv Performance for those who may not know what it is, why they should get it, and I'll give you the floor on it, Calvin.
I appreciate that.
Always.
Primitiv Performance is our line of CB products that we made featuring nanotechnology, so just making it more bioavailable for the user. We specialize in the ORS, which is a rehydration solution. Has your electrolytes, your vitamins, but then it features the anti-inflammatory component with CBD. So just really trying to take products that we use while we play ball, from the topicals to the drink mixes, and really add that pain relief and that anti-inflammatory component to it. Another product that we specialize in is our topical cream. And we're the official CBD topical sponsor of the Detroit Tigers this year. And so that means that in order to do that, we had to get our NSF for sports certification, making sure that any athletes, both collegiate and professionally, we didn't want them to have any issues or any unrest with having to pop for a PED or anything. So that's why we went through the strenuous timeline of getting our NSF for sports certification so that professional athletes can use our products and be comfortable about it. But that product itself, man, I love it. It's great for me. I use it everywhere from my ankles to my knees. Any bumps and bruises that I had, like I said, it's great with pain and inflammation. So we're working our ground game here in Michigan, getting it out into clinics, golf clubs, spas, and whatnot. So just continuing to build that brand and its awareness. We started the brand in 2003, but to have the success that we've had thus far speaks to, obviously we have brand presence, but we have a solid product as well.
PrimitivPerformance.com, and it is a proud CBD performance partner of Ford Field, where, again, there'll be no football this weekend because the Lions just kept on winning and winning and winning, and they've got a bye week. Before I let you go, do me a favor. Choose any of those game balls behind you, pick it off the wall, and tell me the story behind it.
I ain't gonna look at it. I know my oldest son, I scored a touchdown on my oldest son's birthday. One of them up there is December 7th. So I was ecstatic. I think it was his first birthday. I scored a touchdown on that game. It was in 2013, 2014. So that I would pick that one up first and foremost.
That's the one. You have the game ball there. Do you have the game ball by the way, I'll say the date, and I assume you will know it. October 27th, 2013. Is that on the wall?
Is that who we playing, Dallas? Who's that?
Oh, yes, sir. You got that one on the
wall? I'm sure I got one here somewhere.
Well, I mean, if it's the game ball, it was one of your 14 catches for 329 yards.
I don't see it. That means my mom probably took it. My mom took all my good. She takes all the good stuff. She takes all the good stuff.
Your mom has got a career interception? Is that what you're saying?
She has. You would think she played football if you see her collection.
I love that. What was it like to catch 14 balls for 329 yards, which is the record for most yards in a regulation National Football League game, Calvin?
It was tiring. But I feel like we've done 100. Matthew and myself, we've done 100 yards in a quarter. I was like, man, we really could probably do 400 yards in a game. Really, that would be our max potential. But it was that game was, we had to have every single one of those yards. That game went down to the line. As you remember, Matthew stuck the ball over the goal line, before I didn't even know he was going to do it, which was crazy. But
what do you mean?
Ultimately, man.
What do you mean?
Oh, you remember? So I caught a ball down to the 1 yard line. Matthew rushed everybody up to the line of scrimmage, as if he's going to spike the ball. And he hiked the ball and he just reached it over the goal line real quick, and that was a touchdown. I had no idea. I was just in reaction. I just threw my hands up like, touchdown, game over. We're out of here.
No kidding. Yeah, 31-30 was the final score of that game.
Yep.
You needed at 300. I mean, 320. So was that a cold tub week? So what happened after all that?
Yeah, I wish I had that topical. I did everything. I had the hyperbaric chamber, the cold tub, training team, everything.
Unbelievable. Well, Calvin, it's great to just reconnect with you as always. You're one of my favorites. Always appreciate you saying yes. And whenever I hear that you're available, I'm like, let's do it. It's the Lions world. We're all rent payers, man, right now.
Amen to that, man. I appreciate you having me.
You got it. And then every single time you mention, I'm sorry to bring it up again, just from what you said before. You're a 6'5" snowboarder. Is that what you're saying? You're 6'5". Megatron's out there on a snowboard. What the hell does that look like?
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I fell in love with it. The year after I retired, my wife asked me to go skiing. I told her, baby, I'll do nothing on ice. And she finally got me out there. We went skiing, and then a year later, I switched over to snowboard so I could be locked in. I don't have to worry about anything happening with my knees. And I've been snowboarding going on 8 years now. It's a passion, true passion. I love being up on the mountain.
So I imagine that wasn't prohibited in your contract when you were playing.
Yeah,
right?
I believe. I'm sure it was in there because I didn't even. And like I said, I didn't do anything on ice because I'm from Georgia. We didn't do any of that stuff down
there. Take care of yourself, Calvin. Thanks again. We'll run into you again soon. Maybe New Orleans. Who knows, right?
There you go.
You got it. That's Pro Football Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson. Everybody check out Primitiv Performance at primitivperformance.com right here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Amazing. Rich, what would be amazing? I know Brockman will sign up for this. The Lions, if they make it to the Super Bowl,
yes, sir.
Chris, you know where I'm going with this. Let's sign this man. Let's get Megatron on the team. I'm sure he got one last fade in the end zone in him right now. I want to see Megatron get a ring, man.
He's still on laughing.
All right, put him back on.
I need to see that.
Put him back on. We do this every time to Calvin.
I know.
Come on.
What do you think? You got another snap?
Come on. Calvin got at least 12 snaps in him. Look at it.
If you run me any more than 10 yards, I'm gonna blow a tire.
So fade route. A fade route from the 5-yard line.
Who's stopping him?
Right? Who's
I stay in shape, but it's a whole different kind of shape being out there on that football field. It's totally different, but that's just 5 yards, maybe.
There you go. I mean, Goff's going to put the ball where you need it. That
and
right?
Rich, 50%.
That
50% of a robot is better than 110% of a normal human being. So I need to see that. Now I want the Lions to make it. Megatron needs one of them things, man.
That's amazing.
Oh, man. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Calvin. There you go. Now Calvin's done here. Do we do that every time?
We've done it several times.
We tried last time because Sean McVay, right?
We called him back a couple times.
That was the only time we've ever done that, too.
High school together?
Yeah.
Okay, very
We've
good.
had a few moments like that where people have hung out. Remember Chris Fowler with the with the kettlebell? And he heard me say that, Chris.
Yeah, he traveled with a kettlebell in the carry-on.
He was in the hotel cracking up.
Okay, very good. All right, so Calvin says he can give you one snap from inside the 5.
Look, get the contract ready.
Okay, very good. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.